afternoon, everyone. My name is Esperanza Rodriguez, and I am here as a practicum student for Education Administration. I am doing my principal certification. And we're going to go ahead and start by going around the room so I can get to know a little bit about you. If you could just give me your name and what you do here at Vancouver.
I am Monica Kaufman, and I am the principal here at Rowe High School.
I am Sam Casares, and I'm one of the assistant principals here at Vancouver Rowe High School.
And I'm Marie Smith, and I'm the school improvement facilitator.
I am Elizabeth Gonzalez. I'm the Dean of Instruction.
I'm Mr. Macias. I'm the assistant principal here at Rowe.
Very nice to meet you, and I really want to say thank you for taking your time out of your schedule, out of your personal family lives to be here and supporting me with this observation. So this is the second observation that I am doing here with Ms. Kaufman, and we decided to do a book study based on the book Multipliers that all of you have, and I believe some of you have read. We're just going to be going over some of the main points of some of the chapters of the book. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so I would like to introduce myself. You know that my name is Esperanza Rodriguez, but I really want to tell you a little bit about who I am, why I decided to get into the education field. And so here I have some of the pictures that I feel best describe who I am. First of all, to the far right, you can see me as a kid, of course, and you see me with my grandparents. I'm named after my grandmother. Her name was Esperanza Silva, and that's my grandfather, Lucas Silva. Coming from a single parent household, I grew up in my grandparents' home, and so they really taught me everything about being a hard worker, loving education, and completing your education to live a good life. My grandfather came from Mexico as a bracero to the United States. My grandmother was already here. Actually, he came over and he started to work on her farm, where they fell in love and got married. And then he decided to stay here. And so I get my work ethic from them. My grandfather, we had to make him retire. He was a bus driver. Well, actually, he first started out working on the farm and then in the gym, and then as an Ed Caldelsa bus driver, which is where I'm from. Here we have my mom and my aunts. All of my family is in education. My mom and my two aunts are counselors. One here at McAllen, my aunt is a counselor at Gonzales Elementary. And the other two, of course, at Ed Caldelsa, which is where I'm from. And my aunt's an assistant superintendent there. So since I was a little kid, every time we get together, all we talk about is education and the love of service. Servicing our community, servicing our children. And then here we have a picture of my son. I finally had a child, and he's my first one. He just turned 2 last week, so we're in those terrible 2s. Before that, I was the cool aunt for many, many years. Here you can see some of my nieces and nephews. I have a ton of them. And actually, the oldest ones are not there. I just went to one of their baseball games this week, and my sister-in-law was talking to me about, hey, why don't you come to the movies with us? You can help me supervise some girls. I said, there's no way you want for me to take my son because we'll be up and down the road. And my niece came in and said, you used to be the cool aunt. What happened? And I'm like, I'm sorry. I'll get there again someday. But before that, I treated all my nieces and nephews as if they were my own, as well as I was a teacher when I didn't have a child. And so I felt as if I wanted to treat them all like they were my children. And I wanted to make sure that they would get the type of education that I would want for them to have. And so that's how I spend all of my time, as I'm sure we all do, looking at our students, at our community as if they're our own family, because when it's our own family, you go above and beyond for them. Any questions about who I am? Thinking now you know a little bit.
I'm wondering if I recognize those kids.
Probably. It's the only picture I have of my
Is
students.
your husband, correct?
Oh yes, that's my husband.
Oh,
Boys
okay.
and girls are here now, they're freshmen.
Oh, the
Is that
freshman?
Sustaita?
Oh, okay.
Probably. I miss them terribly. I feel so sad that I just left them.
You're in that one.
But yeah. And then of course I'm from Ed Caldelsa, which is a very small community. Some of my students didn't
Orange.
even know it was in Texas, and I said, yes, it is. But yes, so that's a little bit about me, so like that you know who I am. Now a little bit about what I do. I'm an EOC transition facilitator. I work at Region 1. Within Region 1, there's a lot of different departments. Within the departments, there's different offices. I work for the Office of College Career and Life Readiness. Within that office, there's different grants. I'm sure most of you are familiar with Gear Up. So we just finished a Gear Up grant. Well, it's finishing this year, and they got 2 Gear Up grants. Then there's our grant, the Operation College Bound. There's a Project Heal grant, and then we just got awarded a TEA grant, which is also going to be for the healthcare professionals. That's starting in December. So there's a lot of different grants within the office. The one I do works with adult learners. I'm going to go ahead and show you a few pictures. This is some of the events that we do. The grant that I work for, like I said, works with adult learners, either starting their education, finishing their education. It's just making sure that there aren't any barriers for them to go to school. So here you can see us on some college trips. We went to UTSA, we've gone to Texas A&M Corpus Christi. We do, of course, FAFSA, Apply Texas, TASFA. We do financial literacy events. Of course, because I'm bilingual, they volunteered me to come out on Telemundo to talk about the FAFSA and the TASFA. So if you say you're bilingual, you are. It was very good. Actually, a lot of people called in and were wanting to know about the TASFA, which was awesome. This is at the SGC Transfer Center, helping out students, like I said, maybe doing a high Texas transfer, go to graduate school. And then we have started, because we partner with the Adult Education Program at Region 1 and STC. We were looking at some of the needs of our participants, and a lot of them are just very scared to actually test. They've been taking classes for about 3 years, some of our participants, and even though we give them vouchers to pay for the exams, they're still just very scared to try. And so we take some of them and we hold reviews. We give them vouchers and we help them register. There's through Region 1, there's some resources that we give them for free online practice. And so we have these events, and actually a lot of students have come back saying that they passed because of these events, or they just decided to test and got more confidence. So I love the work that we're doing. The grant that I have is a 5-year grant. We're in year 3, getting ready for year 4. So hopefully we can have some sustainability and assist these students in going to college. We actually have an adult participant who's in her 60s. I won't show you which one she is, but she said that now that her children had gone off to school, that it was her turn, and she had never gone outside of the valley. So she was so excited when we took her to all of the different schools, and we took her to the Riverwalk. She had never been there. So it's just a very rewarding job, and we love to help out the community. Any questions about what we do?
So these are adults that did not finish high school.
Some of them, yes. Some of them, yes. We also, we're at STC and UTRGV.
Or they
and at the
finished high school, but they
workforce.
didn't go to college.
Mm-hmm. Yes, or if they're in school, we can help them transfer, things like that. But our primary focus is the adults that did not finish.
Did not finish high school.
Mm-hmm. Or would like to go back.
And well, the information, and how do you recruit those people?
Well, we go to the different sites like STC Continuing Ed. We're at Workforce. We are,
That's the GED programs?
yes, the different GED programs at the different community resource centers. Like for example, we went to San Carlos Community Resource Center. We work at the transfer centers within, for example, STC and UTRGV.
What if I can send you some high school kids?
I would love that.
Really?
Yes.
How come you don't go to the high school center?
Well, we had a partnership with Edinburgh. However, our grant, since it's primarily supposed to be for adults, limits us to 118-year-olds.
Oh.
So that's our only thing. So it's for 19-year-olds and up. They do give us an allowance for 18-year-olds. However, we only get 100. And so we've gone to academies. For example, we've been to Mercedes Academic Academy in La Jolla, as well as Visions there in Edinburgh. But we're always looking for more students.
Okay,
Yes.
we got plenty.
Yes. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with the actual presentation. We're here to talk about the book. The book was talking about leadership. The definition of leadership is the action of leading a group or people or an organization. So I have a few YouTube clips that I'm going to show you about leadership. We'll talk about it after.
People say I am the best boss. They go, God, you've never worked in a place like this before. You're hilarious.
It's not showing up.
And you get the best out of us. I think that pretty much sums it up. I found it at Spencer Gifts.
I'm an avid
People say
Office.
I
Oh,
am the
whoops.
best boss.
Office lover. I love that show. It's so funny. Yes. One moment, thank you.
Just kidding. Wrong one. There it is, sorry about that.
Sorry, we're gonna have to keep it open, I guess. How are we doing?
That's right.
People say I am the best boss. They go, God, you've never worked in a place like this before. You're hilarious. And you get the best out of us. I think that pretty much sums it up. I found it at Spencer Gifts.
Sorry.
That's okay, because actually that one is the next one that's supposed to be.
Oh, okay, so you
One
want to
that's
play that
gonna
one too?
play.
Last week I gave a fire safety talk, and nobody paid any attention. It's my own fault for using PowerPoint. PowerPoint is boring. People learn in lots of different ways, but experience is the best teacher. Today, smoking is going to save lives.
Does anyone smell anything smoky?
Did you bring your jerky in again?
Oh my God! Oh my God! Fire! Oh, fire! Oh my goodness! What's the procedure? What do we do, people? Oh, how did that happen?
It's you,
No,
Alanis,
we
right
don't
there.
know that. The smoke could be coming through an air duct. Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm down! No, no, Michael, no! Touch the handle. If it's hot, there could be a fire in the hallway. Where's warm meat? Not a viable option. What next? Oh, here's a door. Check that one out. How's the handle?
It's warm. They go to the back door.
Another option. Another option. Jeez, okay, settle down, everybody.
Leave it, woman.
Get out of the way. Go, go, go. Things can be replaced, Phyllis. People, human lives, however, can. Ah, my hand, that's hot.
This was hot too.
Okay, we're trapped. Everyone for himself. Okay, go. Have you ever seen a burn victim? Okay, procedure. Excellent option. Where do we go, folks? Use a what to cover the mouth? A what? A rag, a damp rag, perhaps. Let's remember those procedures. What are the options? That's the wrong way. We've already tried that. Remember your exit points. Exit points, people. What's next? Huh? Stay alive. I'm getting help. Pull me out. You're too heavy.
I only weigh 82 pounds. Say bandit.
911. Anyone? 911.
What do we do?
Use the surge of fear and adrenaline to sharpen your decision making.
Okay, I am not dying yet. The fire studio!
Attention! Employees of Dunder Mifflin! This has been a test of our emergency preparedness. There is no fire, it was only a simulation. What? Fire? Not real, this was merely a training exercise. So,
Okay.
Sorry, I actually could watch it.
No, I know. Okay, we have one more, and then I will go over all of the different videos. The last one, I think it's kind of short. Okay.
What? Whoops, hold on.
Here's what's going to happen. I am going to have to fix you, manage you to on a more personal scale.
I like the lessons though. There's a lot of lessons to learn. Well, in any show, I guess, depending what angle you look at it.
Mr. Pinal is right.
Yes, it does. Where'd it go?
A more micro form of management. Jim, what is that called?
Micromanagement.
Boom. Yes. Now Jim is going to be the client. Dwight, you're going to have to sell to him without being aggressive, hostile, or difficult. Let's go.
All right, fine. Ring, ring. Hello, this is Dwight Schrute from the Dunder Mifflin Paper Company. That's great, because I need paper. Excellent, then you are in luck, because we are having a limited time offer only on everything. Wow, this is my lucky day. What is your name, sir? I am Bill Buttlicker. Really, that's your real name? How dare you?
My family built this country, by the way.
Yes, Michael.
If you hold on 1 second, that's my other line.
What? No, but I...
Hello? Yeah. No, I'm just on the phone with this stupid salesman. He's so dumb. I'm just gonna keep him on the line forever and not buy anything. Okay.
It's up to you to change the name.
Sorry, that was a family emergency.
Oh, no, what's wrong? You know what? That's private.
Boundaries, Dwight. Come on.
I'm sorry, Mr. Butler. As I was saying, we're having a limited...
It's a little bit louder, I'm hard of hearing.
I'm sorry. Okay, as I was saying, right now we are having...
louder.
Okay, our prices have never been lower.
Son, you have to talk loud.
Never been lower.
Louder, son!
Butlicker, our prices have never been lower.
That's totally inappropriate. You should never yell at the client. You should
Now
never
you listen to me, sir. The 3 words I would describe you as is aggressive,
Yes.
hostile, and definitely difficult.
Please, Mr. Butler.
I'm irate right
Give
now.
me the phone.
Please give me
It's
another
irate.
chance.
Give me the phone.
Mr.
Give
Butlicker,
me the phone.
I have to put you on with my boss.
Well, I should hope so. Who is this?
Hello, this is Michael Scott, regional manager.
Well, this is William M. Buttlicker.
Hello, Mr. Buttlicker. How may we help you?
Michael, I like the sound of your voice. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna buy $1 million worth of paper products today. See that stuff?
Thank you very much, sir. I don't think you'll regret it.
You are the master. There is one condition, Michael.
Yes.
You have to fire the salesman that treated me so terribly. Don't do it, Michael.
As you can see, there's different organizations and leadership styles in each organization. That's why it's imperative for all of us to recognize our leadership styles, the leadership styles that we have within our organization for those that work with us, and making sure that we can work together, that everyone does not go their own separate ways in times of problems, or then chaos can ensue, as well as trying to not micromanage. That's not the right exact terms that Michael was talking about, but really working together to accomplish our goals. So today we're going to be talking about, before we actually get into the book, I want for us to take a look at ourselves and look at our leadership styles. So I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with Leadership Compass. This is a sort of tool, a resource that we can use to better understand our leadership styles. So for example, it says, can understanding the way you approach work and how it differs from other approaches help you practice effective leadership? It is a tool for understanding how to approach work and how it can differ from others. You need to be flexible in your work style and receptive to others. It also gives you a deeper understanding of the need for a variety of work styles to make organization function. It is a device and language to help work together better as a team and as an organization. Okay, so the Leadership Compass, it's just like a compass. There's different styles for each corner. There's the north, south, east, and west. Okay, so if your personality is more of the north type, you're the type of person that can get it done. You are assertive, active, decisive. You like to be in control and determine the course of events. You're quick to act. You express urgency for others to act quickly also. You enjoy challenging people and situations. You think in terms of the bottom line. You're courageous, ambitious, and confident. You're not stopped by no. You're goal-centered. You're hardworking leader who is comfortable being in front. And your value words are do it now and I'll do it. So that those are the qualities of a northern leader. Make sure you're paying attention because you're going to have to pick one. There's also the south, which is the nurturer. You're friendly, likable, and a team player. You allow others to feel important. You're supportive, nurturing, and caring towards colleagues. You're willing to trust others' statements at face value. You're peace-loving, sympathetic, and helpful. You're feeling-based. You trust your own emotions and intuition as the truth. You're able to focus on the present moment. You're process-centered. You're generous, non-competitive, and you like to build on the ideas of others. Your value words are right and fair. Now the East. You're visionary. You're innovative, creative, and you see the big picture. You're very idea-oriented. You focus on future thought. You're a risk-taker. You're adventurous and spontaneous. You have insight into mission and purpose. You look for overarching themes and ideas. You appreciate a lot of information. You have strong spiritual awareness. You're free-spirited, and you're unconventional. You like to experiment and explore, and your value words are option and possibility. And then finally, we have the West, which is the analyst. You're seen as practical, dependable, and thorough. You provide planning and resources to others. You move carefully, deliberately, and you follow procedures and guidelines. You use data to make logical and analytical decisions. You weigh all sides of an issue. You're balanced. You're introspective, self-analytical, focused, and reserved. You're careful, thoroughly examine people's needs and situations. You work well with existing resources. You're skilled at finding the fatal flaw in an idea or a project. Your value words are objective and organized. Does everyone got them? Yes? Okay, good. So your activity is, you're going to think about the one that applies to you. If you're torn between two, because I know at different points in times you're going to be a little bit of all of them, but it's more what resonates with you. What makes you feel the most comfortable? What is your tendency when under pressure? Okay, so we're going to move about the room a little bit. I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with this school, so which side is north? North? Okay. So if you're north, you go that way. And if you are east this way, south and west. So go, scatter.
I'm actually 22.
I know,
Southwest.
I know.
I'm west, move over,
That's
Sam.
what I'm too.
I'm like northeast.
Northeast.
I am going to.
You have to pick one of y'all.
I'm the west.
Oh, west. Good, good.
You're south? Watch out for the smelly pitcher, by the way.
There's no south people?
No, not south. Well, I was
You're
debating. Yeah.
Where are you,
I'm
Sam?
actually
West.
Northwest.
So
west.
I'm northeast. I was like.
maybe southwest, but more west, I guess.
Or north.
Okay,
You're north?
Yeah. Mhm.
Due north?
good, good.
West was the
Good that
last
we
one,
know.
right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
and
the
a
last
little,
one.
okay.
I know,
I think I am.
I'm there too. Okay, so what you're going to do is if you have a group, you can discuss amongst yourselves. You are going to go ahead and get something to write with. Sorry, here. And you're going to write down your list of strengths. What is a strength that you have because you that is your point. Do you have something?
Yep.
Okay, so I'll give you about 3 minutes.
Are we gonna
It
see
says,
the?
what,
Your
what-
strengths.
The thing that struck me is
This
My
is
strength.
multiple.
My,
Well,
Whoa.
that you are a West. That you are
are we gonna
Balance.
see the pointers? So we had to remember them, right?
I remember that, but
dependable.
I can go
Yeah.
back.
Mm,
West, that's you.
Task oriented.
Reliable.
That's east. Well, there's no south, and the north.
There's no south. Oh, yeah, no, we don't have any.
It's because the counselors are here.
Do it now. Do it now. Do it. Oh, you can't? Okay, I'll do it.
It's usually your counselors that are southern.
It's totally.
Maybe you can take a picture.
I'm not stopped by no.
Hmm.
Okay, let me go back to east. Did you get it?
Go back to west.
Yes. Are you good? Okay. Now each group is going to present to the others what are the strengths of your leadership style. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our northerners. So go ahead. What do y'all have?
Yeah.
Dependable.
Yeah, I think also, I know decisive was one of the words in there and you know, and taking action and
Getting it done.
getting it done, bottom line,
Good.
objective.
Good. Y'all are
What do we need to get it done, you know, let's work it.
Exactly. Okay, very good. So it says ways to work with the northern people. You need to present your case quickly, clearly, and with enthusiasm and confidence. You need to let them know that they will be involved, what their payoff is in the role. You need to focus on the challenge of the task. You need to provide them with plenty of autonomy, establish timelines and stick with them, and give them positive public recognition. You need to use them to complete tasks that require motivation, persuasion, and initiative. So everyone's gonna work with them. That's the best way to work with you guys.
Those timelines.
Yes.
Just tell me what you need done.
Sounds a little neat, sounds a little needy.
You did it yesterday.
Hey, we needed it 2 weeks ago, man.
Okay, now East, will you report out?
I think I like overarching themes, big ideas. I appreciate a lot of information. Don't tell me you feel it. Give me the data. Visionary, innovative. Those were the only ones I was able to copy, but they resonate with me.
Great, Great.
And I have a lot of west too.
Yes.
We'll go with this.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. It's hard to pick one. I feel you. So the best ways to work with you, it says, is to show appreciation and enthusiasm for your ideas. Listen and be patient during an idea generation. Avoid criticizing or judging ideas. Allow and support divergent thinking. Provide a variety of tasks. And provide help and supervision to support detail and project follow through. Okay? Okay, so next we have the West. What are some of y'all's strengths?
Data oriented. I put weighing all the sides of an issue. And I do need the policies and procedures. Tell me how to work it through.
Exactly. That's hard too.
One of the words that resonated with me was that deliberate, very detail oriented, and one of the bullets was about finding a flaw, in the plan or project. I think for me, whenever there's a project or something going on, I want to what could go wrong, or what can I improve on something, or what can I fix, or there has to be something to fix, especially if it's someone else's idea, I guess.
For me, weighing all sides of an issue, being balanced, being a little empathetic maybe, but kind of like Mrs. Kaufman, procedural and guidelines, want to stick to what I know I should be doing. Very deliberate.
Good job, guys. Good job, group. Now it says the best way to work with the West people is to allow plenty of time for decision making. You need to provide data, objective facts, and figures that a West can trust. Don't be put off by the critical no statement. Minimize the expression of emotion and use logic when possible. Appeal to tradition, a sense of history, and correct procedures.
See, and I'm always like, okay, I'm like the little squirrel.
Okay, we can all return. Oh, no, I'm sorry. One more.
Stop.
Think about a weakness or an opportunity that you see with the other quadrants, and see what is best as an opportunistic way of working with the other areas.
Say that again.
So,
I have to find a weakness in everybody
weakness,
else?
Or
no.
a strength.
Or like an opportunity, like a weakness that you have within your own self
Okay.
that
within
you
myself.
can then use the others for that. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
like something that we can take
Substitution.
from
Yes.
another.
So an opportunity, it's called opportunity. But so think about it. You have 2 minutes, and you're gonna have to report out.
Can I go
Okay.
first?
Yes.
I think that do it now. Like I have to think it through. I don't want to like do it now because I don't think that I have enough information or we've got everything together. So maybe if I can move a little more to that, I have to like get that information and make sure it's
Very good. Thank you. Is anyone else ready, or do y'all need more time? Y'all
Need more time.
Okay,
Need more time.
go.
That's a good one. Can you put the other?
Yeah, we need to see
The
slide
other-
again.
the other-
We need to see the slides again.
Yeah, the slides.
Sorry, I should have printed them out for you. Which one?
Give me the
West.
north.
The north?
Give me the north real quick.
Okay.
King of the
I was gonna put a picture of them. You just wait till the answer.
Oh, what? Uh-oh. But you know what's funny? As I was reading this description, I was like, man, that's so harsh. But then I was like, but that's me. Like, that's what I relate to. Like,
But you're a
I'm
little,
not necessarily saying it's good. I don't know if it's good or bad. I don't know what it is.
No.
but you're a little bit of everything. Except this
Well,
is
yeah, I
your
think we all
strength.
have a little bit of everything, but
Mhm.
I just...
Because I could say that I'm a little bit of the north, but you go, Mr. Ryan.
Well, I'm gonna piggyback on what Mrs. Smith said. I wanna get it done, I wanna just do it, I'll do it. But I wanna be logical about it and make sure that, I've got the right tools, resources to get it done properly. So yeah, quick to act, but within reason, I guess, very
Yeah.
logical.
or that sense of urgency, something when something comes up, I always want to take a step back and I don't want to rush into something. But sometimes it does require that, to make it in that quick, decisive decision. And that's something from the north that I need to be more assertive at times, as opposed to just laying back and then trying to weigh the, you know, the good and the bad. I go, no, you know, I just need to make that decision.
So when we have a fire extinguisher.
Everybody, stay calm.
And I guess on mine, it would be, you know, expressing the urgency for the others to act quickly also. I really don't like to, I guess, overreact sometimes to some of the issues that we make bigger and it shouldn't be. And so to just, not do that, I guess.
Very good. Good job. Did the
Yeah,
North talk?
Oh yeah, you need to see ours, right? Or you need to see.
Yeah, you need to see the west,
You
cause,
need to
You
see the
wanna see
west.
the west?
They have
But-
to talk.
And the east, come on.
And the east. And there's no
that's how the,
Well, and the south. Y'all
we have
complaining about
winners
the
that-
south.
Oh, you're in the south.
No,
No, okay.
well,
But we
I
should
will
see
be.
it to
I
be
should
well.
have talked about them, but like I said, they're a lot like our counselors. I guess I'm kind of like west south, friendly, likable. However, you're very much about not hurting people's feelings, and you want to please others before you actually get the work done. I used to be like that, but ever since I started working and becoming a professional, I'm like, no, show me the data. Now I'm very data driven. I'm like, oh my gosh. I don't know how that happened. So yes, you're a little bit of everything at different points in your lives, I guess, or depending on the situation. Because if you talk about home, then I'm very different, right? I have to be north, you know, that's not my personality. Let's just say like at work. So of course, depending on the context.
yeah, well, I wanted to say that, you know, kind of also taking from that a leader, probably is a little bit of all of them, depending on who they're working with.
Exactly.
And what needs to get done. They have to tap into the strengths of those types of leaders.
Exactly. Very good. Which is exactly my point. Y'all can take your seats. You'll
And I
get
think
up.
all of that is what makes us a dream team.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Exactly.
We all bring our own little
Exactly.
strengths.
Chocolates.
West was one.
West was one. The West dominated today.
This was a good exercise.
Yes, I'm glad you liked it.
Glad y'all left one.
So the activity, let's do the reflection. The purpose of this activity is like a directional compass. The leadership compass has 4 directions or ways in which people approach work. Many of us work in all directions at different times. Many of us have a resting place where we tend to be most comfortable. Some of us don't want to go outside of our comfort zone. It is important to know your preferential leadership style and be able to communicate and work with people with other styles. So that's why it's very good to know the people of your organization and the different leadership styles that you have, so like that you know, okay, where I may be weak or I'm needing more opportunity and someone else can help and come and we work together as a team, okay? So I would like this exercise because you're able to identify and say, oh, I didn't know so-and-so like to communicate or work that way. I didn't know that they prefer to communicate this way. It's not anything personal, it's just that's just how I work best. Okay, questions about that? Okay.
What did you
let's-
say you were?
I'm sorry?
What did you say you were? North, south, east, west?
West.
South.
I
Oh, you
was
were
from
west.
Yes. I used to be more south, but I just turned west.
And you said
When
at
I
home
became
you're
an adult.
north.
I'm north and probably south just because my family were very caring and family oriented people. However, in the workplace, I'm pure west.
I'm north with my spouse and south with my girls.
Yes, exactly.
I just want to say, I knew Miss Smith was always way out east.
Well, it's out there. Thank you, Sam. I enjoy being there.
Yes, you're the visionary, Mom.
You're the
Visionary.
visionary.
I guess it has to be like that.
I have a lot of West too because I need data and analyze.
A lot
Well,
of-
we could see that we were a bit of each of them.
Yes.
Yes.
Much far to pick.
Uh-huh. So I wanted to make sure that we did this exercise so like that when we're talking about working with others and our leadership, that could kind of help facilitate where you want to go through with your organization. So we wanted to concentrate on chapter 5, which was called the debate maker. So it was talking about 2 different types of people. You have multipliers, which they make decisions by first engaging people in debate, not only to achieve sound decisions, but also to develop collective intelligence and to ready their organizations. So these are people that actually have a committee and they want to hear from everyone in the committee. As opposed to diminishers that tend to make decisions solo or within a small inner circle. They underutilize the intelligence around them. So these diminishers will form committees, and then the committee will start talking and be giving ideas and wanting to come up with innovations. However, they're not there to actually listen. They're already there set with a plan, and they're going to do what they want to do, right? So they're diminishing those around them. So in order to become a debate maker, which is actually the multiplier, there's 3 different steps. The first step is you need to frame the issue by forming the right questions with the right team. So for example, the question, you need to say, what is the decision to be made? What are we choosing between? We need to know the why. A lot of our West, right? We need to know the 5 W's. Like, why are we doing this? How are we going to do this? We need to know our data. So why is it important? Why is it an important question to answer? Why does the decision warrant collective input and debate? And what happens if it is not addressed? You need to know the who will be involved in making the decision, and who will be giving the input. Part 2, or the second step of becoming a debate maker, you need to spark the debate. You need to create safety and demand rigor. You need to be engaging. The question is compelling and important to everyone in attendance. So you want to make sure that everyone is invested. It needs to be comprehensive. The right information is shared to generate a holistic and collective understanding of the issues at hand. You need to be fact-based when trying to spark a debate. The debate is deeply rooted in fact and not opinion. It needs to be educational, so people leave the debate more focused on what they learned than who won or lost the debate. Okay, so here we have a table, and it is how to create safety for best thinking and how to demand rigor. So just because we say you need to create a debate does not mean that you put a problem out there and you just let them go at it, right? No, you need to create an environment where people feel that they can contribute, that they can say something, that their idea is valued, even if it's not the idea that we're going to go with, right? So we need to make sure that as leaders, we provide this safe environment. So how can we do this? We can share their view last after hearing other people's views. We can encourage others to take an opposing stand, encourage all points of view, focus on the facts, depersonalize the issues and keep it unemotional, and you need to look beyond organizational hierarchy and job titles. Now, how to demand rigor. You can ask the hard questions, challenge the underlying assumptions, look for evidence in the data, look at the issue from multiple perspectives, attack the issues and not the people, and you can equally debate both sides of an issue. Any questions on that? Okay.
Are you gonna make us debate?
No, not today. Next time we'll do philosophical trips. Okay, and then the last step is to drive a sound decision. So you need to re-clarify the decision-making process, make the decision, and then communicate the decision with rational thought. All in all, to make the debate, you need to ask the hard question, ask for evidence, ask everyone, and you need to ask people to switch positions. One of my favorite activities when I was a classroom teacher was when we were teaching World War II, and my students would pick a side, whether you agreed with the nuclear bomb or they didn't. And then once I had them committed to their decision, I hit them with the other side, and they were then told by the opposing team that, how could you do this to so-and-so, right? And so it taught them to be empathetic, taught them another perspective, and then I had students going back and forth like, oh no, what did I just do? And I changed my mind, and no, I changed my mind, right? There's some scary research out there saying that if you were born after the year 2000, that you don't have any empathy. Our students are coming to school and they cannot empathize, they don't know how to empathize. So it's up to us as leaders to teach them how to be empathetic, show them different experiences. within ourselves and with others.
I have a question. What's
Yes.
the reason they don't have empathy?
Just because of the times and their situations, a lot has to do with technology, and that they're no longer forming those relationships with others and those experiences. They'd rather just stay in the room playing games or on their phone. That's the underlying reason. Yeah, so it was kind of scary, especially as a new mom. Like, no, not that right? So we need to make sure that we're teaching our students how to be caring humans. Okay. Next, we're going to be talking about chapter 7. But before we do, I want to talk about the danger of a single story. Is there anyone who can pop up that video?
Oh, there's something playing in there.
Oh, that's not mine.
Alright, here
I don't claim that one.
Let me see. I'm gonna play it from this one and then click on it. Maybe it'll go straight to it.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Grammarly can help. This sentence is grammatically correct.
We're watching 19 minutes of it?
No, just 10. 10 minutes.
Oh,
We
whoops.
didn't have snow. We ate mangoes.
Okay.
And we never talked about the weather because there was no need to. My characters also drank a lot of ginger beer because the characters in the British books I read drank ginger beer. Never mind that I had no idea what ginger beer was. And for many years afterwards, I would have a desperate desire to taste ginger beer. But that is another story. What this demonstrates, I think, is how impressionable and vulnerable we are in the face of a story, particularly as children. Because all I had read were books in which characters were foreign, I had become convinced that books, by their very nature, had to have foreigners in them, and had to be about things with which I could not personally identify. Now, things changed when I discovered African books. There weren't many of them available, and they weren't quite as easy to find as foreign books, but because of writers like Chinua Achebe and Kamara Laye, I went through a mental shift in my perception of literature. I realized that people like me, girls with skin the color of chocolate, whose kinky hair could not form ponytails, could also exist in literature. I started to write about things I recognized. Now, I loved those American and British books I read. They stirred my imagination, they opened up new worlds for me. But the unintended consequence was that I did not know that people like me could exist in literature. So what the discovery of African writers did for me was this: it saved me from having a single story of what books are. I come from a conventional middle-class Nigerian family. My father was a professor. My mother was an administrator. And so we had, as was the norm, living domestic help who would often come from nearby rural villages. So the year I turned 8, we got a new houseboy. His name was Fide. The only thing my mother told us about him was that his family was very poor. My mother sent yams and rice and our old clothes to his family. And when I didn't finish my dinner, my mother would say, "Finish your food. Don't you know people like Fide's family have nothing?" So I felt enormous pity for Fide's family. Then one Saturday, we went to his village to visit. And his mother showed us a beautifully patterned basket made of dyed raffia that his brother had made. I was startled. It had not occurred to me that anybody in his family could actually make something. All I had heard about them was how poor they were, so that it had become impossible for me to see them as anything else but poor. Their poverty was my single story of them. Years later, I thought about this when I left Nigeria to go to university in the United States. I was 19. My American roommate was shocked by me. She asked where I had learned to speak English so well, and was confused when I said that Nigeria happened to have English as its official language. She asked if she could listen to what she called my tribal music, and was consequently very disappointed when I produced my tape of Mariah Carey. She assumed that I did not know how to use a stove. What struck me was this: she had felt sorry for me even before she saw me. Her default position toward me as an African was a kind of patronizing, well-meaning pity. My roommate had a single story of Africa, a single story of catastrophe. In this single story, there was no possibility of Africans being similar to her in any way, no possibility of feelings more complex than pity, no possibility of a connection as human equals. I must say that before I went to the US, I didn't consciously identify as African. But in the US, whenever Africa came up, people turned to me, never mind that I knew nothing about places like Namibia. But I did come to embrace this new identity, and in many ways I think of myself now as African, although I still get quite irritable when Africa is referred to as a country, the most recent example being my otherwise wonderful flight from Lagos 2 days ago, in which there was an announcement on the Virgin flight about their charity walk in India, Africa, and other countries. So after I had spent some years in the US as an African, I began to understand my roommate's response to me. If I had not grown up in Nigeria, and if all I knew about Africa were from popular images, I too would think that Africa was a place of beautiful landscapes, beautiful animals, and incomprehensible people fighting senseless wars, dying of poverty and AIDS, unable to speak for themselves, and waiting to be saved by a kind white foreigner. I would see Africans in the same way that I, as a child, had seen Fide's family. This single story of Africa ultimately comes, I think, from Western literature. Now here's a quote from the writing of a London merchant called John Locke, who sailed to West Africa in 1561 and kept a fascinating account of his voyage. After referring to the black Africans as beasts who have no houses, he writes, "They are also people without heads, having their mouths and eyes in their breasts." Now, I've laughed every time I've read this, and one must admire the imagination of John Locke. But what is important about his writing is that it represents the beginning of a tradition of telling African stories in the West, a tradition of sub-Saharan Africa as a place of negatives, of difference, of darkness, of people who, in the words of the wonderful poet Rudyard Kipling, are half devil, half child. And so I began to realize that my American roommate must have, throughout her life, seen and heard different versions of this single story. As had a professor who once told me that my novel was not authentically African. Now, I was quite willing to contend that there were a number of things wrong with the novel, that it had failed in a number of places, but I had not quite imagined that it had failed at achieving something called African authenticity. In fact, I did not know what African authenticity was. The professor told me that my characters were too much like him, an educated and middle-class man. My characters drove cars. They were not starving. Therefore, they were not authentically African. But I must quickly add that I too am just as guilty on the question of the single story. A few years ago, I visited Mexico from the US. The political climate in the US at the time was tense, and there were debates going on about immigration. And, as often happens in America, immigration became synonymous with Mexicans. There were endless stories of Mexicans as people who were fleecing the healthcare system, sneaking across the border, being arrested at the border, that sort of thing. I remember walking around on my first day in Guadalajara, watching the people going to work, rolling up tortillas in the marketplace, smoking, laughing. I remember first feeling slight surprise, and then I was overwhelmed with shame. I realized that I had been so immersed in the media coverage of Mexicans that they had become one thing in my mind, the abject immigrant. I had bought into the single story of Mexicans, and I could not have been more ashamed of myself. So that is how to create a single story. Show a people as one thing, as only one thing, over and over again, and that is what they become. It is impossible to talk about a single story without talking about power. There is a word, an Igbo word, that I think about whenever I think about the power structures of the world, and it is Nkali. It's a noun that loosely translates to be greater than another. Like our economic and political worlds, stories too are defined by the principle of Nkali. How they are told, who tells them, when they are told, how many stories are told, are really dependent on power. Power is the ability not just to tell the story of another person.
Sorry, I can listen to her all day. I just love the way that she speaks. She's very Westerly, right? So here we're going to talk about the danger of a single story, right? We were talking before about perspective, right? And not just thinking about what it is that you know and what you're familiar with, but by stepping outside of the box and getting to know the story of others. Where do they come from? Like we were talking before, our leadership styles, how everyone works together, and knowing that just because what we see in the media or in the TV or what we've heard about does not mean that we're talking about them, right? So it's a lot about empathy, world perspective, trying to empower others as opposed to trying to feel sympathetic for them, because that's not helping anyone. And knowing that there's never just one single story, but getting the perspective of others. So next we're going to talk about chapter 7, which is the accidental diminisher. So before we were talking about how diminishers are bad, right? Well, not really. Sometimes diminishers, they're managers with the best of intentions. They're good people who think they are doing a good job leading. So for example, can people be hindered by our honest attempts to help teach or lead by example? For example, with my vulnerability, how might my best intentions be shutting down good ideas and smart people? So when I had first read chapter 5, I thought, like I said before, the diminishers are the ones that just think about their ideas. They don't want to hear anyone else's thoughts. However, we can also be a diminisher if we are trying to help others out. I'll show you the examples. So for example, these are how to minimize your accidental diminisher tendencies. Your tendency is to be the idea guy. Your intention is for their ideas to stimulate ideas in others. However, they overwhelm others who shut down or spend time chasing the idea. So how can you stop this? Before sharing new ideas, you can stop and ask yourself if you want the people who work for you to take action now. If not, hold off and share your sharing and save it for later. There's the always on. Your intention is to create infectious energy and share your point of view. So those are like your energy people that are like, hey, let's do it. So you're always on. So your intention is to do good. However, sometimes your outcome might be that that you might consume all the space and you might tune everyone out. So a way to help you fix that is, instead of repeating yourself for emphasis, try saying things once and create a reason for others to chime in. If you're a rescuer, your intention is to ensure people are successful and protect their reputation. However, the outcome might be that people become dependent, which weakens their reputation. How can you fix this? When someone brings you a problem or signals the need for help, remind yourself that they probably already have a solution. You can ask yourself, how do you think we should solve it? There's also the pace setter. Your intention is to set a high standard for quality or pace. However, your outcome might be that others become spectators or give up when they can't keep up. A way to help with this would be to stay within sight. If you have a tendency to pull out ahead, remind yourself to stay within sight so people don't give up or get lost. Stay within a distance that someone can catch up. So don't just try to go and lead, but know how to try to stay with others. Okay. There's also the rapid responder. Their intention is to keep the organization moving fast. However, the organization moves slowly because of the traffic jam, too many decisions or changes. So what can you do? Again, instead of going right into it, you can tell yourself to wait 24 hours or whatever time is good for you to give others the opportunity to chime in. So before responding to any email that falls into someone else's job, give that person the right to respond first. You could be an optimist. I see myself in a lot of these later diminishers. You know, I had good intentions, but I might be hindering others. The optimist, you try to create belief that the team can do it. People wonder if they appreciate the struggle and the possibility of failure. So signal the struggle. Before offering your boundless enthusiasm, start by acknowledging how hard the work is. Let people know what I'm asking you to do is hard. Success isn't guaranteed, but at least we're going to try, right? So be more realistic. There's also the protector, to keep people safe from political forces in the organization. The outcome, people don't learn to fend for themselves. So something to help you with this is that you can expose your team members to harsh realities in small doses so they can learn from their mistakes and develop strength. This, I learned a lot myself. I have a little sister, and so I would do everything for her. I would always do the laundry, clean up the room. Then she got married, and hello, she doesn't do that, right? So I'm like, oh, I was trying to help because I loved her so, but I really hindered her, right? And then she did the same for me. I never had to cook because she was an awesome cook. I got out there, and I'm like, oh, I don't know how to cook. So I should have learned to fend for myself. Some independence, but I was, so we worked with each other, right? So sometimes you wanting to help others is a hindrance. There's also a strategist intention to create a compelling reason to move beyond the status quo. The outcome is people differ up on second guess the boss rather than finding answers. So what can you do to complete the puzzle? As you paint a picture of the future, leave sections for your team to complete. Frame the puzzle by establishing the why and the what, but let your team fill in the how. There's also the perfectionist, which is the last one. Your intention is to help people produce outstanding work they're proud of. However, people feel criticized. They become disheartened and they stop trying. What can you do? Define the standard of excellence up front. Let people know, excuse me. Let people know what outstanding looks like and define the criteria for completeness. Ask people to self-assess by the standards. So there's a different way that you can offer rigor as opposed to setting unrealistic, perfection objectives. Does that make sense? Does anybody identify with any of these sort of diminishers? A little bit?
Oh, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of
Yeah.
those.
Yeah, so when I read chapter 5, I was like, oh no, these diminishers, no. And then I come to chapter 7, and I'm like, oh no, I was one of
Guilty.
them. That's what happened.
But like you said, it's you're an accidental.
Yes.
You know you gotta be able to catch yourself and say, oh, what's my, like you said, what's my intention, but what's really the outcome, what's coming out here.
Exactly. So that's why it's important for us to read this and to see, okay, what qualities do I have? What qualities can I overcome? What qualities can we work with and solve together? In order to be those leaders that others will want to turn to and work with, and not say, you know what, I don't want to go to that meeting because my boss never listens to me, or it's nothing, it's just whatever they want, you know. So trying to see what is your objective of your organization and setting that climate that you want to have.
I guess the hard part is recognizing when you're actually a diminisher.
Exactly.
And stepping back like, oh my God, what am I doing?
Yes.
Am I being too protective, or am I bulldozing my thoughts on these people or whatnot?
Exactly.
In my EOY, I opened up that discussion for my teachers, and I came across that where people were kind of like we you know, you're such a hard worker, and we want to keep up with you, but sometimes we just feel like we can't. And so I was very grateful that they were comfortable enough to say that to me. And so I've been reflecting on that and how am I gonna fix that? Because I want them to, you know, I want to run alongside them. I don't want to be running and like everybody's like way back there. They're like, no, I give up.
Exactly.
So just through conversations with people, you know, they'll tell you, they'll tell us
But
like,
then don't get feelings hurt whenever they say anything.
no, and I
Sometimes
didn't.
I wonder if people are really honest with me. Yeah.
Yeah, with you it's a little harder, MK, because you're the actual principal.
Well, if you say a joke and everybody laughs, then you gotta say, okay.
Yes, well, thank you for sharing, everyone. And the purpose of this is really just to identify your leadership style. Become a debate maker. Utilize those that are around you. working together as a team. Create more stories. Don't just look at things through one perspective. Try to look outside of the box. Try to be empathetic towards others. Try to minimize accidental diminisher tendencies. So it's good that we're able to identify those and work with them. I always try to evaluate myself, right? Just like we go through an evaluation, there's a personal, there's a professional. To always trying to be the best that we can be. But we can't be perfect, right? We can't be perfectionists, but we can certainly try to lead those around us to accomplishing our goals. Okay, and so I will leave you with 2 videos. Can you help me with the videos?
Wait, you shouldn't end it. Oh my gosh.
Thanks.
No, I need to. This one, and then I need to get on that.
So I mean to tell you, I wanna take you out for lunch for your last day. Oh. What do you think? Tomorrow, lunch? Okay. You're not leaving tomorrow. You're leaving today, right? Wow, so that's it, huh? Just 4 o'clock and you were gone for good. Why am I so sad? Am I doing the wrong thing? Absolutely not. It's just that sometimes goodbyes are a bitch. T-shirt, big hit, goodbye stick. Okay, alright. So, James Halpert. You started with this company. I'm fine, young man. You know what I think we should do? I think we should just save the goodbyes for tomorrow. Have lunch. Oh. Okay. And then tomorrow, I can tell you what a great boss you turned out to be. Best boss I ever had. Oh, shoot. That's my cap. Alright, alright.
Because that's our goal, right? We want to just, even though we're not in the classroom anymore, we're always going to be teachers. We're always going to have others that look up to us that we're going to have to lead. And I just that video just because there's a lot of students, right, that will come up to you and say that you made a difference in their lives. Sometimes you'll make a difference in your coworker's life. You never know. And so I want to say thanks for being our best bosses. Sometimes you will get the recognition, sometimes you won't. But before we leave, there's going to be one last activity that I want you all to do. Everyone is going to get an index card, going to get a piece of tape, and you're going to stick it to the back of your bag. Everyone is going to get a marker, and you're going to write something that you admire or that you like or you care about that individual. So everyone has to write on everyone's back. And then you're going to keep it, you're going to take it off, because I know I still have some of my students' notes, right? Which of you guys are awesome, right? And when I'm having some really hard days and I'm just like, what did I do? Did I make the right choice? I take those out and I say, you know what? Yeah, I made the right choice. So go ahead and did everyone keep one or do I need to pass one? And then let me pass the tape.
I tape it onto my own back?
Yes, ma'am.
And they write on my back?
Yes, ma'am.
It's better than stabbing you.
That's true.
Here you go. There's markers there.
Markers or pen? Does it matter?
Oh, well, you can do pen. I
Oh,
just, I
markers,
didn't know,
I see.
I didn't know what everyone was gonna have, so I just.
Yeah, you can lie to me, guys.
Oh,
There's nothing to do.
Yes, sir. And I will put some jams.
Jams.
Some jams.
Marker?
What are we writing? Something positive?
You ready?
Something
How do I put it?
insightful?
Oh, I put it on your
iPhone
Oh,
phone.
where are you?
Oh, put it on your.
What are we writing down? This is
Something I like about-
positive about that person that you.
positive.
Am I camera?
Are we gonna start?
Put it right on your.
You got something positive to say about me, sir?
Sir, yes, sir.
I can't see what you're writing. Can it be pictures?
Yes. It can be anything you want. You're supposed to keep this forever.
Really?
So we're choosing one person or we're everybody?
No, everybody's.
Everybody.
Everyone.
You too, Hope? You get to write on everybody's phone?
I will.
Let me do it. You can.
Let's get in a conga line.
Right, that's what I was gonna say.
I'm supposed to.
Like
And then everyone goes to the back.
Like an Indian run. You just,
Indian
the
run.
front person, the person in the
Right.
front, the back.
Let's see. Poor De Leon is missing out.
I wonder if she would have been south.
I think so.
She would have been our south.
You think so?
Maybe.
I have to text her and see how she's doing. Time out. You're walking away.
Oh, you're not done
Okay,
yet.
okay, go
Sorry,
ahead.
progress.
Let me see.
Just a few words. Just
a few words.
of encouragement.
So sorry, guys. I don't know what's wrong with my phone. No jams.
Never let the truth get in the way of a good
It's
story.
Don't move.
Oh, sorry,
I
sorry.
love how you organize our admin guild. Wait, Sam, wait, have I written on your
I
Sam?
haven't
I
written.
haven't written that yet.
Go ahead, guys. Two at a time is fine.
All right, Marie, I got you.
Let's see. Sorry, I wrote a whole,
That's-
I wrote a whole.
How does that come?
Just a few words.
Is everyone done?
I think I'm done with everybody, right?
You just want to have service.
Move them up here.
Tell me what it is. I'm not sure.
Go ahead, brother.
I wrote on you. No, Macius, I need to write on you.
Best running partner.
Ever.
You're right. I think it.
Where'd you get this idea?
My brain. You can write on the back.
I think.
Have you wrote on mine?
No.
No? Macius, I don't think I wrote on yours. Have I wrote on yours?
I thought you were the second person.
Yeah, I probably did.
I need to, do my.
Oh, she's not done?
No, continue, you do, you go.
Oh.
Oh.
I keep my pen on YouTube.
So know that if I know you from Boston, I want to say thank you for everything that you taught me. You took a chance on a first year teacher and you taught me so much that I carry over to all my next further employments. And I really want to say I'm very grateful and I will never forget everything that you all taught me. So thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate all that you all did for me.
Thank you, Hope.
Thank you.
Yeah, let me do mine. You know that we did this one time, one of our coaches suggested this right before curriculum. And all the girls went into the game, they were all crying, and I was like, no, don't cry. Gotta go play right now.
I just copied something. I promise I didn't see it.
I should put on Ruben's. Always so fresh. He's always freshening up.
So mine are gonna have the same thing on both, but
There's a
this
fire.
one, I just barely have.
Thank you.
Yes.
Gotta go. My son has a
Okay,
game.
okay, well, thank you. I won't take any more of your time. Thank you so much for taking the
Thank
time
you.
to be
Thanks,
here.
thanks.
I really appreciate it.
Yay! On your way to becoming a principal.
Applausos.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thanks for the chocolates.
Oh, thank you, sir. Sorry.